he wanted to. He had an MRI yesterday, and it's just a matter of seeing how quickly it'll heal. And he wanted to do more than he did today, so that was a little discouraging.
Is that something in addition to the bone bruise you talked about?
Same knee, different.
Okay.
Yeah, different issue.
Did that happen in practice?
No, in a game on Saturday night.
What is, you talk about Anson and just his, not only his contribution on the floor, but just the guy that's been patient and waited his time, and that was really has been flourishing. Just talk about his career here, what he's done.
I think that it was interesting that as I watched that college football playoff game, the national championship game last night, and they kept talking about this third-string quarterback who, probably had a lot of options, a lot of things he could have done besides sit there and be the third-string quarterback, but stayed in there, and when it was his time, he was obviously ready to roll, and I think you can put a lot of those comparisons to Ants. And maybe the time frame was a little bit longer and extended, but Ants had a lot of options of things that he could have done after maybe not being one of the top guys his first couple of years, but it used to be kind of the norm that guys would wait for their turn, and now it seems to be the exception. And but what he means to this team is, it's indescribable actually, because he has so many roles and he can play them all so well, and he can do that because of the experience that he has. He knows not only the positions that he plays, but he knows the urgency of the game, the urgency of possessions, the emotion of a long season, the emotion of a short, the last 3 or 4 minutes of a game. I mean, he is prepared for all that, and that's what makes him so valuable.
Relative to health or injury issues, does this feel like your most challenging season so far?
I don't know if it is. I think those years with Steven Rogers and Chris Collinsworth, those were tough years too to try to get through. But the one thing that is different with this is the continual amount of change. Where you think you have your group and you've kind of found yourself, and then there seems to be another hit, and then you've got to figure that out. Well, and that's probably been one of the top challenges of the seasons.
Dave, what are teams doing to combat your four guard rotation? What have you noticed they've kind of been trying to stop?
Well, I think that the biggest thing is it's penetration, and we try to get penetration and then get shots from the inside out to our threes, and most of our threes the other night on Thursday came from side to side, and we've always penetrated the ball into the post with the pass, and then we could kick it out. We've penetrated the ball with our guards. I think teams are doing a pretty good job of trying to stop that in a half-court set. In transition, it's really those are opportunities for us because things are a little bit more spread out, and so that's one of the real reasons that we really try to push that, because I think in the initial 10 seconds of that shot clock transition, we get better looks, cleaner looks. The problem is that it creates a really high volume of possessions in a game, and so Kyle is such an important part of about 5 different parts of our game, defensively and rebounding and distributing the ball, and we'll probably add a little bit more to his plate and get him in the post a little bit more, see if we can get the ball down there.
What was your perception of the West Coast Conference 4 years ago when you guys got into this, and how has that changed over the course of being able to coach in it, get to know the teams?
That's a good question. I think that I was talking to Billy Greer the other day, and he's been in the West Coast Conference for 24 years, and as an assistant at Gonzaga and then at San Diego, and and he pretty much can tell you this league's history from, you know, first person, a guy that's been in it doing it, and it's interesting just to listen to guys who have been through this league for a long time. My perception of it was that it was a really skilled league that was had really good coaches and teams executed at a really high level. I think that what we've learned in the 4 years, that is all true, but it is really a physical league. I mean, this is a league where front lines really are big and strong, and you know, that's, you know, I thought that last year at the end of the year that we were playing really physical up front, and that we need to get to that some point with whatever personnel we decide on and how it's going to work, but we need to get to that.
Is it kind of a trap to think of it as a small league because of the small gyms? It's kind of a misconception that they're not good because they play in small gyms? Well,
I can tell you this, that there is definitely a misconception of the league, you know, and it's, I mean, I think that you take any league across the country and you take a team that is consistently in the top 25 and more often than not in the top 10, that the competition in the league is pretty good.
You expect Nate to play this weekend?
Expect would be not the right word. You know, I'd be surprised if he did. I would like him to, but I don't think that right now it looks like that's going to happen.
How's Jamal coming along with his injury?
He's come along. He's come along. His timetable is he's got to get to a certain point with what he's doing in his rehab before we can move forward. And once we get to that point, then I think we can maybe put some type of reasonable timetable on when we can get him to practice. And I don't know when that's going to be. You know, but I think he's coming along pretty good.
Coach, you're in the Infinity Challenge this year. What does that mean to be a part of that?
Well, I'm excited to help support you know, cancer awareness. The part of this challenge is we're trying to raise money for the Hope Lodge that's being built in Salt Lake. That's under construction now. So the more votes that we get, the more money that we can actually make. A few years ago, we actually got to the Final Four in this, and I think there's 68 coaches this year. So, you know, hopefully people can take a minute and go to the website and vote and see if we can maybe move on to the next round.
What made you choose the Hope Lodge? Or have you done that in the past?
It's something that Cheryl and I have spent a lot of time in other fundraising opportunities, and they asked for a charity and for us to support, and we've the last time it was the Children with Cancer Christmas Foundation here in town, and we started this project about 2 years ago with the Hope Lodge and decided that this would be a good thing to bring awareness to the actual needs of cancer patients right here in you know, the Salt Lake, Utah Valley area.
Yeah, and I saw that your wife was in the video on
She's
Hope
good,
Lodge.
isn't she?
Yeah,
that was
pretty good.
That was good. Yeah, she could be an actress, but I keep her doing other things.
Any other
Good.
questions?
Yeah.
Coach, just what are the keys to winning that position?
This will be a really physical weekend, okay? And we're going to have our guys play through contact, be good. You know, all the things that we do, we've got to be really good at it, knowing that it's going to be a real physical battle. We're going to have the pace is going to have to be good. But we're going to, you know, this game, both these games will be played right around the basket, and especially on the defensive end, and hopefully we can, you know, we'll have enough, you know, whatever the word is, intestinal fortitude, strength, urgency, emotion, all those things to compete with these two teams, because they're both really big physical teams. All right. Okay, thanks, guys.